How soon after childbirth did you do the forms? How soon?
I believe it was like 6 months or
So,
something.
having to deal with all of that, the hormonal movement, all of that. Well, that's the things we men don't take into consideration. But when we get smarter, we learn more. We learn there's more than meets the eye. So she had to deal with all of that. That's what impressed me. So what am I saying to you? I said before, I did not want an ordinary martial arts school where people just learn to fight and this and that. I want a school where people learn to transcend the true weakness. So the opponent that you defeat is not over there on the other side of the ring, it's right here. This is the one that has to be defeated, to be overcome, to be subdued. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying there aren't other schools organized in that way, but they're few and far between. Because ultimately, this is about the liberation of our people from that negative, fearful place where everything that we touch turns to mess. And those of us that have children cannot afford to have everything that we touch turn to mess. Because we'll pass it on to them, and in their lives, that which they touch will turn to mess. Then we'll have what they call the generation curse. It just goes on and on and on. Yeah, well, I heard Uncle Bobby 9 generations ago acted the same way. Because some wouldn't deal with it. We better take this serious. I don't care what you study, whatever. This is central. This is the spinal column of any teacher. If you involve yourself in any teaching and you don't find these 7, that'd be amazing to me. Because whatever you do, wherever you go, you gotta go there physically. I'm going to work, I'm going to class. I mean, you're moving physically. Now, when you get there physically, you take your emotional state with you. Any disruption that has not been addressed, you take in those places with you. You go into a relationship. This is what you're taking with you. Oh, they look good, I like them, yeah, but are you looking at this? Can you see this? Or are you looking at this? And do you know how this works? I don't pitch tent, by that I mean interact. On a serious level with anybody, I don't know how this works. If not, they'll be bringing problems that I don't intend to deal with. It can be somebody operating on this level, calling themselves a spiritual teacher. I'm looking to see how their mind works. Because then you know how, or what type of impact their spiritual teaching will have. I want to hear nothing but a religion that taught at one time that a certain race of people was cursed. The hell kind of religion is that? So God is so stupid, he allowed a whole race of people to be cursed and vilified? Doesn't sound right to me. That sounds like a parent that would allow a child to be vilified, disrespected, mistreated. Those kind of parents sometimes go to jail. So God needs to be in jail then. You allow people to be vilified. And it's in the book, or those who disseminate that wisdom or functioning in the world have impact upon the world, and I'm supposed to follow that? I don't think so. The one thing you must lose is the fear of calling a spade a spade. You got to lose that fear. Oh, I don't want to get hit by lightning. Well, hit me then. If you made the mess and you allowed it to be, then don't threaten me with no lightning. I could care less. The spiritual manipulation that constantly takes place, and the spiritual manipulators are responsible for all of this. My point. You're in the pulpit every Sunday, and you have the ears, the eyes, and hearts of the people. And you don't explain this? What took place on the cross when there was a moment of doubt? Something up here in this emotional instincts, something up in there. The body is being hammered and nailed. So mentally there's some confusion, and there's the question, why have you forsaken me? Something up in here hadn't been dealt with. So you can't become the Christ until this is dealt with. How can you be Christ, Christos, enlightened? You're enlightened and you're telling God you're forsaken? How can you be forsaken? You're in life. Even if you move into death, where are you being forsaken? Oh, you mean you got some emotional conflict. I understand that. There's some instinctive stuff going on. We feel like exposed and being crucified. I understand that. So then you become the Christ after trials and tribulations. That's human being. Human beings become enlightened after dealing with trials and tribulations and obstacles. Show me, you say no? Show me another way. Show me another way. If not, then how do you have spiritual men and women that transgress? And how can you have a preacher that got 5 women spread across the county? Must be some failing in here somewhere. It's not to judge anybody. I got enough mess in my life never to judge anybody. We're talking about how to address the mess. So how can you have this exalted position and continue to make the mistakes on this level? Something wasn't dealt with. Something wasn't dealt with. You got a position in society, but there's still work to be done. And this is most of the spiritual world right here. Spiritual teachers who have not dealt with their emotions or their instincts. Have not dealt with physical fear. One that doesn't understand this will continue to have insurmountable problems in life. Any questions? Now, I'm not saying accept it. And you know, I always put this disclaimer on it. Don't accept it because you heard me say it. Take all these elements and research them. For instance, you can go online and look at the nature of fear. Just type in the nature of fear and see what comes up. Numerous studies on fear. And you read it, you can see our people right there. We're fearful people. Afraid to step up. I don't know if I want Barack Obama for president, he might get assassinated.